Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit of
I'm the real heavyweight champion.
That'd be the best of me. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
Was pretty hard, and look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of TEW 2020's Billy Corgan NWA. We are here ready for Halloween Havoc as we kind of go past our go-home show and get on ready to get another pay-per-view in the bag. Halloween Havoc is in the first week of November. It's fine. It'll work out the way we need to. And we've kind of gotten our broadcasting schedule, I think, a bit better now that we're going to be doing it live instead of booking it in advance. That certainly made a needed complication. Now, finances. We made almost no money last month, but we are positive. So that's not bad, right? The fear that I had was that we were going to be starting to go negative. Now, certainly we're starting this month negative, but if we look at our estimated broadcast revenue in terms of our sponsorships, it's been consistent. We're going to not make money, but we're not going to go into the red here. So ideally, we would want to find a way to start to make more money. But right now, we are stable. We're fine. And we have a pretty decent sized cushion. So I'm not too concerned about that. We do have a very bloated roster. Most of that is still the tournament. So that is what it is. We do have some morale issues as well that we might have to worry about. You're angry at causing an injury, being left on American Bash. I'm going to give him a bonus just to shut him up. Probably. So, I mean, this is something like we're going to go negative here this month just by doing this practically. No, that's way too much money. 2,500 should boost them, I think. Let's see. Yes, very happy. So that's one morale issue done with. We have minor morale issues I'm not that concerned about. Really at all. Cash has a morale issue for some reason. Being left off a Great American Bash, angry at booking at NWA Power. A while ago still. Same situation. We'll give him a bonus. Hopefully that takes care of it. Normally, our morale backstage is really strong. Like at 100%. Like straight 100%. We do have this issue with Crazy Mary and Eli Drake. And there's some tension between Drake and Miro. I wish this was easier to pull up during the actual show, but it's there, so we do have it. But overall, we're pretty okay. We're really not in a bad spot. In fact, like we probably could even cut some of these to save money, like catering provisions. We might be able to get rid of, and it's probably going to have no real effect. Except that our backstage rules are having a negative effect because we're not providing something. So, versus having a positive effect. I don't know if it's really needed. Certainly, I don't know how much money we're spending on that. I don't really know how much that actually costs. Try to keep backstage above 70, so we're fine there. Relationship doesn't actually say. Oh, here we are. Catering. All right. Catering provided costs dependent on the company's size of the show. Catering increases locker room morale. It's not helpful because it's not actually telling how much it costs. How much are we spending is what I would like to know. Show costs, venue, miscellaneous. I don't know. I don't know what the cost is of this. Is it just the miscellaneous? Doesn't say. Super helpful. Thank you, Grey Dog. This is very, very helpful. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to take it off for now because I am actually curious to see what we are spending on that. And I don't think we need it. I think hotels are organized. We probably don't need it. It's probably going to have no effect on our backstage rating. We're at 100%. We're rocking it. No reason to pay any extra if we don't need to. Because someone, and I'm sorry, I forget who said it in the comments, but had a great idea of maybe actually making a NWA Japan and taking all those BW boys that all left the company and making that. But that's going to cost a lot of money. So I had kind of a long-term idea. I'm kind of curious what you guys think about this. I feel like this alliance is not as helpful as I would like. Where I feel like we get to have some AEW people from time to time, and some Impact people from time to time, but we don't really utilize it that much. And there's other alliances that we could build, right? So, for example, we could build one that's like a consortium, right? Where we're making money and adding it all together. New alliance. Let me see if we have the different alliance types in here to show you. Don't see it here. But there's a whole bunch of different alliance types that we could have. And there's a potential, I could probably find it here in the editor. I kind of walk through what I'm thinking about long term. Might not be right now. So right now we're a trading company. So what that means is that our alliance solely just allows the free trade of people, right? So if we look here, it's trading means members have access to alliance loans and they can borrow workers from other members. Super helpful. We have protective, means that no member can run shows in a home region against another member. That's a very traditional style, or actually territorial is a little bit closer. So that would be a territorial alliance, means that each member can only run in their own home show. Bordered means that there's no shows outside of their home area, like the entire region. Then we have like consortium, means that the monthly profits of all members are combined together into one pot and divided equally among members. So that's kind of interesting because that would mean that we could maybe help propagate a brand, right? If we're continuing to dissolve CZW into like championship wrestling in Philadelphia, right? Or we do championship wrestling Tokyo or something like that. And then maybe bring along championship wrestling from Hollywood. Maybe even Major League Pro Wrestling. If we combine these into a large consortium, we can funnel all the money together and split them up. Now, it might mean that we actually make less money, but we start to build a larger alliance. Now, that would mean having to leave our initial alliance, which we would probably go in the editor and rename, because if we left, Impact wouldn't be allowed to call this NWA. We would also have to boot these companies, and we had to see if they would allow us to do it. But it's just thought of a long-term goal of what would be the next step for the NWA, besides just trying to go from small to a larger company. It may be actually building a larger brand to house that all. And that might go with making the 10 pounds of gold an actual alliance title. So it's challenged everywhere across the world. And that's kind of close to what Billy Corgan's original envisionment of the NWA was kind of bringing back that alliance. And a consortium would make the most sense because you would be able to spread all that money around and everyone helps each other out. So just a thought process that I'm kind of going through. Let me know what you guys think about that. It would definitely be a big change in our approach, but definitely feels like a worthy goal to go forward into. Now, enough of the preamble. Let's get on to the show and let's book Halloween Havoc. All right, we are ready. We do have Sheamus leaving the NWA, or WWE, joining the NWA. So we could actually have him on the show tonight, which we probably will. Let's look at him real quick. And I'm just curious to see a handshake deal. 21. Yeah, we are spending a lot of money on him, but I think that'll be okay. And the Celtic Warrior gimmick, I think we'll keep it. He's going to be considered a major star. He's 42. I didn't realize Sheamus was 42. There is... What alter egos we have? We just have Sheamus or Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. I'm not familiar with him outside of WWE, so I don't know if he has a independent wrestling name. I'm fine with just keeping this and working with that. That seems fine. So we're going to have to find a place for him on the show. Not sure what we will do for him. Let's just see here. Yeah, I guess that's just what he's wrestled as. Unless we did Stephen Farrelly, which nah. Okay, so we'll have to find a place for him on the show. I think we could probably find a place for him on the show. I like it to ideally be with somebody that's really going to put on a banger, though, and not just like a squash match. So we will see. We'll find a place. Couple storylines that we're wrapping up, so should be some good ones on the show here, I think. Let's get on with it. We are going to be on Fight. Minimum quality is only a 24, so that is perfect for us. I just set this to use as broadcaster. Save this selection. That's fine. Okay. We are expecting 1,000 fans. Or 1,700 fans. I think we should actually find a good place for it. Metroplex Live can fit 1,500. It's going to cost $1,000, but I'd like to actually have everybody that we can in there versus the 850 capacity for us. This whole thing still is weird to me. The costs of just like you're going to be somewhere in Miami, you'll find a location is kind of odd to me still, because theoretically we could just pick one of those, but we'll go with the traditional Metroplex. It's fine. All right. Hopefully nothing. We do have a backstage incident. Just protege work. Josh Woods is still here. We haven't fired him. Rock and Roll Express are still here too, but I'm kind of using them mostly for road agent work to balance out our other road agents so that they're not getting tired. So that actually works pretty okay. We're going to try to meddle again with Eli Drake and Crazy Mary. No effect. Can't get worse for the most part, so it doesn't hurt to try. I don't know how often I'm going to keep on trying for that, but we'll at least try to get something positive out of that. All right, got a big show. I didn't look, but I'm pretty sure Eli Drake is fit to work through his broken jaw, so we'll let him have his match against Pillman. Hopefully, he does not get further injured. Other than that, we got a pretty good show ahead. Let's get ahead and book it. All right, everybody, we are ready for Halloween Havoc. 188 minutes, all in the bag, including 2 pre-shows, with the tournament continuing within the pre-show. Let's get on with it. I don't think I missed anything. I hope not. There's a lot of little things going on that I think I have everything settled. So with that said, let's get on with the show. We start off with, again, our round ones, which are just using a coin flip machine. And coin flip machine. I can't even talk. As though that's not just my phone with an app. I like that I try to make it sound more official. But we got Microman versus Principe Pantera. Microman wins. Fortunately, this had subpar wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Microman defeats Principe in 7 minutes and moves on in a tournament. I think this was a work the crowd match, which it failed to do, which is unfortunate. Afterwards, he's so pissed off at this, by the way. Tetsuya Endo versus Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan eats the pin. Endo beats him in 11 minutes with a moonsault press, and then moves on in the tournament. And I don't think Eric Rowan's going to be working with us for much longer, even though we're going to be getting rid of him anyways. And we start the show proper. So we start the show, which is now seemingly a tradition, as Nick Aldis has temporarily become, I think, my Tyler Breeze in the NWA. Which I'll see if anyone actually kind of understands that reference. But Aldis is off the card again and busts into Danhausen's office while he's preparing for his match. And he demands an opponent tonight. Danhausen just looks at him and smiles evilly and says, "Sure." Starts the show off okay. Gets the crowd's hotter. Gets the show off a strong start. They're both natural in terms of entertainment. So it gets us a 51. Not too bad. And we give Nick Aldis what he wanted. This was a work the crowd too. Oh, I probably messed that up. Oh well. Nick Aldis goes to the ring to face his new opponent, who is former WWE wrestler Sheamus, who debuts and beats Aldis in 5 minutes by pinfall with a Celtic Cross. Sheamus had a 74, Nick Aldis had a 53, and got a very good rating for his gimmick. 74 is very good, and he gets a dominant win against Nick Aldis. And then the match overall is okay, kind of hindered by the improper working of the crowd, which Danhausen's segment was enough to get it to work for him, unfortunately. And overall, it's a little bit under what their average performance is, which is a bummer, but promising that Sheamus is going to regularly give us a 74. This match is better than I thought it was going to be. Miro and Ryback in a cage. They can't seem to contain themselves in the ring, so we're forcing them to fight in the ring in a classic cage match where they cannot escape. Miro defeats Ryback in the cage match in 8 minutes after a pinfall with a bullplex. Miro had a 70, Ryback had a 53. Gotta get rid of that storyline because that's not really pertinent anymore. I think all the storylines are getting flushed this episode. We're kind of finishing everything off. Even if ones are continuing, I'm renaming them just because some of these got kind of convoluted in my naming schemes. So, yeah. Got the crowd buzzing, which is way too early for this. I had, you know what? I might do an on-the-fly booking here. It's the first time I've done it, but I'm going to utilize TEW's on-the-fly booking screen, which I'm going to cut away from. But I'm going to try to get the best results possible here, because I do have a match that will cool them down a bit, because we don't want to blow out the crowd, and this was a blowout moment. So let's call an audible, and we're going to move a match down. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll catch you when we come right back. Okay, we continue. I don't know if this worked, but we'll see. But we moved FTR down in the match, because this was actually a technical masterclass. So I don't know if it worked. We'll see how they did. But it's a decent match. FTR defeats Devon Eriks at 18 minutes. Cash pins Ross with a Shatter Machine and wins the NWA World titles. Strong in-ring performances from all around. We had some heel turn kind of stuff from Devon Eriks. Ross feeling really off his game. Both teams showed excellent chemistry, and unfortunately we have the manager heel divide kind of making some confusion, which we kind of had to fix. But FTR get a win against the Von Erichs. I want to see how they handle that after having been the dominant tag team for like half a year. Afterwards, we have FTR having cheated to win, basically kind of doing a rope leverage move to get the win, and showing some strong coordination, ends up running off, slinking away with the titles, as each Von Erich looks on, shocked, Kevin pissed at the ringside. Definitely not going to be the end of the Von Erichs in terms of their importance, but we're giving the top guys the top belts, and allowing this. We're going to be fun to see how the Von Erichs play into that, whether this is an opportunity for other tag teams to take their place temporarily, or whether they're going to go right into sort of a rematch. We don't have a rematch clause in NWA, so it's not like they automatically get a chance to return to it. They may, but it's kind of up in the air. But it gives us some nice momentum here, and I think we put it on a team that should be able to do some interesting things in the meantime. This segment gets only a 40, unfortunately, though. Their entertainment rating's a little subpar. After that, we have a match that was pretty much entirely carried by Fatu, but we kind of have to seal the deal. Fatu and Machete broke up. This is sort of the blow-off match. Fatu and Machete fight. Fatu beats Machete in 9 minutes with a Samoan drop. Gets us a 46. Got the crowd hotter. So I think we balanced it right, where we kind of had a good technical to cool the buzz off. Now we're back to getting the crowd hotter again. That's pretty good. Great thing about 2020 for TEW that I do like is the ability to kind of change that on the fly. Super helpful. I think that actually helped out a lot. So Fatu wins, cementing his departure against Machete. And Machete is asking for forgiveness. Doesn't seem to want to have his friend go. And Fatu just walks away from him. So he gets Marty Jannetti'd, and probably we're going to just depart him from the scene altogether. I don't think we need Machete, and Fatu's a better singles wrestler than a tag wrestler with him, so we'll just move him on to the singles scene. I could see him legitimately competing against any of the singles belts, no problem. And for reason why we don't want Machete, I mean, this does a very poor job. 38's a garbage rating, even for us. Just don't need it. Much better match. Segment actually was a little bit worse than I thought it should be. This really feels like it should be like a 63, 64. Not sure what happened here. I don't know. But we have a hardcore match, which this might be the penalty, actually. It might have been the hardcore match, but it kind of is what it had to be. No, see it. But Brody Lee versus Pentagon Dark. Brody Lee has to prove himself to the cult that he is capable of doing what must be done to evolve, to be bloodthirsty, to harden and form the diamond that will be needed for this sort of apocalyptic future that the cult seems to be prophesizing. And he does that. He finally beats Pentagon Dark, bloodies him up in a hardcore match, ends up winning with a pinfall with a pile driver. Both have equal performances, did great in this segment. 59 is best match we've had so far. I think it should have been higher, but whatever. And afterwards, the segment could have been a little bit better, but considering who we have, it's fine. Pentagon laying on the ground, bloodied and beaten. Brody stands above him, exhausted after the war that he went through. And he's got a steel chair in hand, something that he's used a lot in the end of this match. And Pentagon rises up almost supernaturally, blood dripping out of his mouth as it opens up to form a wicked smile. He likes this. He's happy about what just happened. Brody raises his chair up with full of rage and is about to swing down at Pentagon until the lights go out. In the middle of the darkness, at each corner of the ring, we have an eerily lit torch emerging, kind of in this ghostly, sick green instead of a typical red or kind of yellow-orange. They're held each by cloaked figures, one in each corner, and they slowly walk in to the center where Brody stands. And the camera catches behind Brody another cloaked figure right behind him with only a painted white chin that peeks beneath the hood. One of the other four removes their cloak. It's Josephus, smiling wide at Brody like a proud father. "You did it. You've proven yourself worthy to be the spear that this cult needs. A weapon that will be thrust upon our enemies. One that will be sharpened to ensure that we can change the world and prepare for its dark future." The robed figure behind Brody uncloaks as well, revealing Pentagon Dark. "You have proven your worth to our master, the Lord of Darkness." So we've expelled the Lord of Light. We now have the Lord of Darkness. Brody showed no fear, and thus has fought against and faced the challenge of the leader of the cult, Pentagon Dark. 47. This hopefully starts a new change of the cult. Definitely, this next story beat probably is going to be very cult-centric, I'm going to imagine, as now they have a weapon, they have a leader, and they have an army behind them. And we will have to see what happens. Speaking of seeing what happens, we have Danhausen versus Colt Cabana for the Grand Slam Lumberjack Denny's Championship. Danhausen and Colt Cabana have some natural comedic timing, so this is a comedy match. Gave the crowd a little bit of a breather before the next couple bouts here. Match ends in 8 minutes by submission after Colt Cabana wins and defeats him with an inverted Boston Crab and becomes the Denny's Lumberjack Grand Slam Championship. Presumably he can hang out with the Colt afterwards and get some pancakes or something. Gets a 46. It's not bad. It's not great either. Another match, more of setting up some future things, but nothing immediate right now. But we have a 6-way, I guess a 3-way, 2 teams kind of situation with Ashley Vox and Kimberly, who have tagged in the past and have been successful with it. Allison Kay and Kiera Hogan, who have not, and Nicole Matthews and Madison Eagles, who have been also incredibly dominant in the women's undercard. It had good wrestling, did not have much heat though. Ashley Vox and Kimberly defeat Allison Kay and Kiera Hogan and Nicole Matthews and Madison Eagles in 11 minutes. It was an elimination match. We had Allison Kay and Kiera Hogan first, and then Nicole Matthews and Madison Eagles afterwards. Lost a little heat for our Thought Crime storyline. Give Ashley Vox a win, and went on too long. We had it set as like eye candy match, just like a breather, but I think this ended up going just too long in general. Gives us a 40. It's fine. Afterwards, we have a segment of a special entrance as Crazy Mary Dobson ends up entering with the women's title that she stole, and Annie Neihart kind of staring her down. This does not do very well. But match did very well. 46, which overall is not too bad. Again, underperforming for the segment, which is kind of weird considering their performance rating. But had good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd. Natty defeats Crazy Mary in 7 minutes with submission with a sharpshooter. Makes defense number 1 of her title. Was a strong challenger. And Natty gets to maintain the belt and get a defense number 1 in. After that, we got Ace Austin versus Eddie Kingston in a big old slobber knocker kind of, I think it was a no DQs match. So I think this was set even as like a hardcore wild brawl match. So 48 and 49 between them both, respectively, kind of about the same. Again, they're underperforming a little bit to their performance, which is interesting. I'm not sure why. Usually it averages it out, so it would be somewhere kind of in between. Kingston defeats Ace Austin in 12 minutes and actually defeats him not retains, but takes the Founders Championship. Something that Ace Austin had put on the line in this match, kind of against his will. And Eddie does beat him and steal the Founders Championship. Gains some heat for his storyline. And does pretty good. 46 is a little underwhelming. Ace Austin loses the Founders Championship, meaning now that Eddie could cash in the championship at any time on any title. Afterwards, a big old cluster happens. This does pretty poorly. It's just wildly different values for everybody. But we have just total violence erupting between the Union and the Smoking Aces. And, they're all fighting. The Union does stand tall and slink away, kind of setting up for maybe a larger full team feud, maybe some kind of war game situation or something like that, that seems to fit the 4v4 kind of atmosphere here. This does okay, got the crowd hotter, but the segment is pretty underwhelming. Again, another one that underperforms a little bit. We got AR Fox challenging again for Lance Archer's Alliance title. Seems very confident he will win, and we seem to see why. Has superb wrestling, great heat. AR Fox defeats Lance Archer in 13 minutes after using a foreign object. He never said that he was going to not do anything, any means necessary here. And it seems to show as he slugs Lance Archer after the ref is turned, using any tool in his toolbox to down the monster, and thus wins the Alliance National Heavyweight title. 68 for AR Fox, 58 for Lance Archer, 54 total for the segment. Not too bad, and we have a new Alliance champion. His victory is short-lived, though, as the weakened AR Fox, who kind of just got out of that match, is celebrating. Sheamus appears after his debut and attacks him, seemingly making his first target known that he wants that damn Alliance title. Gets a 65, does very good as we start to begin a new storyline heading into AR Fox as being the Alliance champion and Sheamus seemingly trying to call his shot for first challenger. In our main event, oh boy, yeah, this was a rough one. A lot of this had to do with that injury, unfortunately. Took a toll. They had 50 and 50, but the protection for Eli was just really made this match a stinker. Had good heat, decent wrestling. Pillman defeats Eli Drake in 19 minutes by submission. Makes defense number 1 of his title. Boy, that's a rough penalty. Thankfully, he didn't hurt himself. We tried to use, I think, protection. We protected him during it, which kind of moved around his flaws a little bit there. Unfortunately, it just was probably just really having to work around that to make sure he didn't get injured. Really hurt the flow of the match. That's a real bummer for a main event. Better ending, though. Eli Drake ends up sitting on the apron, just looking depressed, kind of tending to his wounds and his jaw. Pillman sits down next to him, kind of gives him some comfort, and you could tell is kind of like praising him. Drake and Pillman had no loss of friendship between them. They were not necessarily allies, not necessarily enemies, but there was some level of admiration between the two of them. And it seems like Drake really proved to Pillman that he had what it takes. We don't know if Drake wasn't injured, what would have happened, but it seems that Pillman viewed him as a worthy opponent And presumably Drake probably felt about the same. There's a kind of an interesting face-and-face dynamic. Nobody looks worse off there, but we kind of get a feel-good ending of the two of them kind of acknowledging each other. This is a 56 here. Does okay. Gains some heat for a storyline we're about to end. And Eli Drake improvised well. Show is wildly wildly swingy in its ratings, though. Yeah, it does improve in all the other regions, but basically our home region. This is a 47. It's not horrible, but yeah, it's a little rough. Nobody had anything really bad happen, so we'll just kind of boost up everybody randomly. Nobody was particularly mad except for Eric Rowan, who's going to leave, so it doesn't really matter. We'll do Eddie. Poor guy had to work through that. Or Eli. Give him a hug. There you go. Everyone's pleased. There you go. All right. Well, did well. Drake's fully fit. We just waited one more day. We probably would have been fine. Unfortunately, Dalton Castle's now injured. Got us only 4,000 views, which is not great, but it gives us some money, I suppose. We got to look for a better pay-per-view option at some point. Overall, though, show was considered excellent, so even though it was probably underperforming in terms of what we wanted, it did okay. Kind of a bit of a bummer, but it's fine. That was very, very swingy show, I think, for us. But overall, it did what we needed to do. It accomplished its goals, and hopefully we didn't hurt ourselves too much doing that. So from this point, we have, I think, nothing scheduled upcoming. December, Into the Fire. So that's what we're going to be moving towards. There'll be a longer jump as we wait pretty much like 6 weeks. As we move into the Fire will be our next pay-per-view. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I'll see you next time.